entering the ring, wearing brown trunks with white and pink trim, hailing from Sagamihara, Kanagawa, Japan. He weighed in at 53.3 kilograms, or 117 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his career with an outstanding record of 30 wins, no losses, 23 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the 4th defense of his current world title, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the hard-hitting and acclaimed 3-division world champion, the current undefeated, reigning and defending WBC bantamweight champion of the world, introducing Junto Nakatani. And his opponent across the ring, ready to go, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks with black trim, hailing from Osaka, Japan. He weighed in at 53.4 kilograms, or 117 3/4 pounds. He is also undefeated in his campaign to the ring, with a record of 10 wins, no losses, with 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, in his 3rd world title appearance, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the acclaimed Southpaw world champion, the undefeated, reigning and defending IBF bantamweight champion of the world, introducing Ryosuke Nishida. Once again, a referee in charge, now to give instructions, Yuji Fukuchi.
With here tonight, he certainly will have a height and reach advantage, but it's not as extreme as it has been throughout his career as he rips a couple uppercuts here in the early going. They are not wasting any time, Nakatani and Nishida.
Yeah, Corey, heading into this fight, I wondered how each of these guys would react to, for the first time in a long time, not having a marked height and length advantage over their opponent at the bantamweight level. And it turns out Nakatani is going to address that by just walking straight forward and doing what he does.
I mean, really everything about this fight is uncommon. It's a little unusual. 2 Japanese fighters facing one another in a unification bout. We mentioned that's only happened 4 times. 2 Southpaws going at it. As Nakatani rips another uppercut on the inside, and that right hook scored, and scored well.
2 tall Southpaws who can each fight from a distance but are also comfortable closing the gap and moving forward. The big difference between them, Corey, is the punching power, and that is more than an equalizer.
Double uppercut there from Nakatani. Nishida, quite possibly one of the more underrated world champions in boxing today, perhaps because of the short career, but nice body shot there from Nishida.
That's what I was about to say, Corey. That's the same shot that ended his last fight, that sort of half bolo left uppercut to the body, and it got Nakatani's attention immediately.
Absolute firefight here in the early going.
The whole tenor of this first round changed after that body shot. From a guy in Nishida who is not really known as a power puncher.
The greatness of Nishida's offense is in its simplicity,
yes,
and really how fast to the target it is. He is tight, he is compact. And that was one of the questions in this fight. Can he get to the body of Nakatani, and can he do work on the inside without paying a tax that's too hefty?
You see him, he went back to that punch because there's an opening for it. There's a lane for it. And until Nakatani makes the adjustment, he's going to keep throwing it. And that punch naturally opens up the lane, too, for his right hook. For Nishida's right hook.
On the inside there from Nishida. Lands a chopping left hand, and they trade shots on the inside. Nishida doing what no one else has seemed to want to do, and that's just stand toe-to-toe with Junto Nakatani. This is what you want a world title unification fight to look like in the sport today. And part of that, of course, is all the talent, the shadow of the talent in the country surrounding him, also in the division that he's within, and then the shadow that looms over this fight. But you look at that first round, Morgan, and don't print those tickets for Nakatani Inoue quite yet.
And we have seen this happen so many times in boxing. We just saw it happen last week with Caleb Plant losing to Armando Resendiz. Is you think you're setting up some semifinals and you think you're building up to a final 6 or 9 or 12 months away, and one of these other fighters has other plans.
As short as Nishida's career has been, you look at the wins that he's piled up. Of course, the title defense last time out, the title winning effort against Manny Rodriguez. Good shot there from Nakatani. That early career win against Daigo Higa. He's done a lot in 10 fights. He deserves to be here, and it looks like he belongs right now.
Daigo Higa, that was 12 rounds in his third pro fight. If you're looking for an illustration of how quickly this guy has moved, how quickly he has developed, and how thoroughly.
This is what Nishida could do. He can just wedge his way to the inside with that tight defense, the short shots, and the good body work. Nakatani trying to pierce through that with those uppercuts. He's had some success in doing so. But Nishida could do that very well. He can catch shots on the elbows and counter right off of them. Good clubbing shot there from Nakatani.
And I'd expected a lot more of a boxing match, at least in the early going, partly because I believed what Nishida told our man Anson Wainwright from the Ring magazine. I think that taking a measured and tactical approach against Nakatani is the way to result in a victory for me.
That's a big left hand over the top. That has been a fight-ending shot throughout his career for Nakatani.
I was going to say, in this, aggression is a tactic, but I would not describe it as measured. He has decided that the best way to Nakatani is through Nakatani, again, which is a tactic most people will not employ for very good reason, because he's such a thunderous puncher with that left hand.
Big left hand over the top. Excellent timing there from Nakatani as he triples up on these uppercuts twice.
You notice what happened when Nakatani landed that overhand left was that Nishida was trying to throw that left uppercut to the body again. And Nakatani just timed it. He knew he'd get him leaning.
Nakatani countering Nishida's best shot with his best shot.
So even in the midst of even in the midst of this brawl, there's a fascinating tactical back and forth happening.
It's round 3 underway. A warm ovation from the audience that is loving this one so far. That was a big round for Junto Nakatani. After a fairly even opening round, Nakatani clearly landing the eye-catching shots in round 2, but back comes Nishida with one of his own.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that has opened up for Nishida because of those left uppercuts to the body is that he can throw that left hand over the top. As Nakatani's thinking about defending that right side of his ribcage.
Speaking of uppercuts, you might have heard in Nakatani's corner his coach Rudy Hernandez telling him switch it up, telling him that Nishida is expecting the uppercuts now. Yes. And at a high level like this, Morgan, that's really what you fear the most, is falling into a familiar pattern.
Right.
Especially against a puncher the caliber on either side of this fight.
Absolutely. That's what we saw in the last fight with Santillan, falling into that pattern of throwing the left hooks and Nasukawa just letting that left hand go. So here we have these two. Each guy sort of expecting the uppercut, each guy trying to figure out what to do to counter or neutralize it.
There's an intensity and a tension about this fight that the crowd is really latching onto already. You can hear the screams when these exchanges start.
Yes.
Nakatani looking for that counter left hand over the top again. Nishida gets there with one of his own right down the middle. And another one. Yeah,
and now we're not in the ring, obviously, but Nakatani is acting and reacting like a guy who understands that Nishida's punching power is a lot more effective than his record suggests.
Nakatani just exploding forward with that leaping right hook. Took a couple of shots prior to that, though. Counter to the body there from Nakatani. It's a hard shot to land on Nishida with that super tight guard. Those elbows go all the way down to the waistband. Left hand came raining over the top there from Nakatani, and
big
Nishida,
left hand to the body.
Yeah, he felt that body shot. You could see Nishida wincing, and now Nakatani climbing the ladder with a couple shots up top before going back downstairs. But Nishida with a reply right away.
And that left hand to the body was a sort of shot Nakatani's been looking for. Maybe not that specific shot, but the shot that's going to make Nishida think twice about what he's doing.
It's Nakatani first off the stools as round 4 begins of what has been a fantastic title fight so far.
Right, and the other subplot that's developing as we begin the 4th round is which of these fighters deviates from this furious early pace, either by choice or by necessity. But it's hard to imagine two guys fighting this fast, punching this with this frequency and this much power for 12 rounds without somebody deciding they need a break or without somebody breaking.
I mean, we thought that the last time there was a Japanese unification fight between Kenshiro and Saigo Uriakui. It did not slow down, and thus far, this one hasn't either.
Well, what happened there was Akui went from a furious pace to a even more furious pace, and then Taraji matched it. So there was a deviation from the pace. It's not the one we expected.
Good inside work here from Nishida as he lands a nice chopping right hook up top.
And a big left hand over the top there, too. And here's the kind of forehead to forehead, shoulder to shoulder fight we weren't sure we were going to see.
You're never certain how two southpaws will mesh stylistically. The answer tonight is beautifully and violently. And speaking of which, there is a hematoma developing above the eye of Ryosuke Nishida that we're going to be wary of as we move forward here. You hear the chants.
Yeah, they're on Nishida's side.
They are on Nishida's side at the moment.
They must not have gotten the memo about big
left hand there from Nakatani. That one forces Nishida to take a brief step backwards.
Yeah, and that's for the second time tonight, Corey. There's been a big left hand that has caused Nishida to think twice about what he's doing.
Nishida's had a lot of success himself offensively, but he's the only one who has shown effects of feeling the power so far.
Yeah, there's a damage that's starting to accrue. He also appears, between the two of them, to be breathing a little bit more heavily.
This is the question that we posed. How heavy attacks can Nishida afford in these types of exchanges? But look at the eye of Ryosuke Nishida. That is a big problem, and that left hand right on top of it is not helping matters. Round 5 underway as you see the swelling increasing on the eye of Ryosuke Nishida as Junto Nakatani comes right back to the inside with a chopping left hand. Good shot there from Nishida, but back comes Nakatani with a quick combination.
And there's Nishida again, starting that sequence That left uppercut to the body again opens up some more of his offense.
Two uppercuts there from Nakatani. This is just an all-out slugfest.
Beautiful counter left there from Nakatani.
Nakatani creating a little more distance now.
You see Nishida advancing at a full run when Nakatani tries to create distance. The distance clearly is not what Nishida wants. At least not in this phase of the fight.
It's like Nishida being warned for the use of the head, a little bit over-eager perhaps.
Right.
And running towards the inside. Big swing and a miss there from Nakatani.
And clearly Nishida came into this fight thinking that the left hand to the body was what was going to make his offense work. You've seen him throw it straight as well.
Nakatani tries to turn the corner with a right hook, but he got caught with a better one there from Nishida. Good left hands, and now just unloading with uppercuts is Junto Nakatani. See Nishida blocking some of those, but that eye is nearly closed, Morgan.
And again,
big uppercut
that
again.
difference in punching power. Nishida can try to will these punches away, but they're taking an effect.
And we may be taking a look at that eye, right? I mean, that's going to look like a Carmen Basilio eye in about 5 minutes. But he will pass the diagnostic test. And we are back to action. Another left hand right on that eye.
Yeah, Nakatani is not shy about throwing that roundhouse left because it's going to come to Nishida from out of that blind spot.
Just continuing to punish the injury of Ryosuke Nishida. Another one. A devilish left hand from Nakatani as he strikes a pose at the end of the round. That's number one. But number two, they're telling Nakatani, stop running. I don't know what their standards are for activity per round, but apparently it wasn't enough for Rudy Hernandez's liking.
I wouldn't call it running. As I said, I've seen one guy running, that's Nishida. He's running forward. But Nakatani has not retreated except when he got hit in the belly with that uppercut. But look at him now. He's coming forward.
Nishida takes a knee there. That obviously an entanglement. But the body language of Nishida looking a little more haggard here in the 6th round, and understandably so. The other thing you saw in between rounds, the smile on the face of Nakatani, the difference in body language here. There's a really frightening level of joy that Nakatani seems to be taking in what's happening right now.
From this combat, exactly. And look at Nishida right now. To your point, Corey. Looking haggard, not quite exhausted, but looking like somebody who understands that he might be running out of answers.
Trade hooks on the inside. Nakatani just cranking them up, and he cranks the head of Nishida another direction there with that one. Nishida still standing in the trenches with one eye, trying to trade with one of the most dangerous punchers in the game.
Also, at what point do we credit Nishida's chin? Because a couple of these right hooks, by all rights, should have put him down, if not out, and here he is. Maybe not winning the fight, but still returning fire.
Some of that joy we talked about on the face of Junto Nakatani is probably a little bit of surprise. Like, hey, someone's willing to stand and do this with me?
Well, as I said in my notes, about Nishida. Can he take the initiative from Nakatani? Can he take Nakatani's best punch? Can he avoid that punch, and can he do it for 12 rounds? And he's been taking it for 5.5, going on 6.
Beautiful right hook there from Nakatani as he dances out.
Well, this corner's not going to like that dancing, Corey.
See, even in moments like that there, Morgan, Nakatani just establishing that physical dominance,
Yes.
kind of twirling Nishida around a little bit, whose eye is completely closed.
Yes.
Another round in the bank, another smile from Nakatani.
Looks like this fight
This is going to be waved off, and justifiably so. The one-eyed Ryosuke Nishida, as brave as they come, but that would have been irresponsible to continue taking that punishment. Junto Nakatani, now the unified bantamweight champion.
On suggestion of the corner, a referee in charge stops the contest due to an injury to the fighter. At the end of round number 6, he is the winner by way of technical knockout. He is now the undefeated, unified WBC and IBF bantamweight champion of the world, Junto Big Bang Nakatani.
Subscribe, like, share the best boxing reels.